Could Kobe Bryant average 40 points a night in today's NBA? I'll say yes, it's possible.
There's not a doubt in my mind that Kobe could average 40 points in today's NBA. And I love the framing that this guy provided in that anytime you're asking about, a player from the past averaging X amount of points or X amount of stats in today's NBA, you also have to frame it in that team that they were on when they had those seasons in their era, right? So for Kobe Bryant, when he averaged 35, that team, that scenario, that Kobe Bryant, if you took him and dropped him into today's NBA, could he average 40? I think the answer is unequivocally yes. If you took Michael Jordan the year that he averaged 37 and dropped him into the NBA today, I think he unequivocally could average 40. Absolutely yes. Now, when you dig a little bit deeper into these things, you also have to consider a few important points. One being Kobe Bryant's outright workload, right? He averaged 41 minutes a game that season. How many star players in today's NBA are averaging 41 minutes? The answer is none, right? Jimmy Butler was known for having a huge workload and playing a ton of minutes when he was on the Heat and they were making their finals runs. And he was playing nowhere near 41 minutes. The few guys who play close to 40 minutes are guys like Mikal Bridges, who didn't touch 40 minutes last season, and I don't think he's touched 40 minutes for like the past 2 or 3 seasons. There's very few guys, and definitely not star guys, who are playing that amount of minutes. The max you'll see is like 37. So when you look at it just from a perspective of the outright demand and workload that he had that season, and you apply that to this season, now he's playing exponentially more possessions because he's playing 41 minutes still in today's era, but he's doing it in an era that already has more possessions. So you multiply the possessions that he's getting per game by like 8, he's getting 8 more touches, 8 more chances to have an opportunity. Then you look at things like shot profile. And the reason I bring up shot profile is because we're in a new era of basketball. And one could make an educated guess that if he played in today's NBA, his shot profile, the way the game is coached, the offenses, and the way offenses are applied, one could surmise, again, that his shot profile would change a little bit. So I've done the math, right? I've looked it up. If you simply kept Kobe's percentages the same, if you kept his shot volume the same, but you changed his three-point volume from like 4 to 7 or 8, which 7 or 8 for an elite perimeter player is very realistic and probably on the low end for some guys. Some guys are taking 10 to 11 threes a game. But if you just took Kobe's shot profile, which I think he took 27 shots a game that season, and instead of taking 4 threes, he took 8. That right there with the same percentages gets him pretty much to 40 points a game. You get what I'm saying? And that's not even talking about the additional possessions that you get and the additional touches that you get. So I think unequivocally Kobe Bryant could average 40 if you were to simulate the same situation that he had in 05-06 into today's NBA. So if you dropped his 05 or 06 team into today's NBA, one, that 05-06 team would be good today. But still, right, if he had that team in today's NBA, or two, you put him on a team that is of a similar stature, makeup, talent level, right? So if you dropped Kobe Bryant on the Hornets for, let's say you remove LaMelo Ball and you remove Brandon, is it Marshall? Name escapes me off the top of my head. But let's say you remove their best 2 perimeter players and you drop Kobe Bryant on there. Could he average 40? Yeah, I think he could. If you put him on the Wizards before they added all these vets, could he average 40? And let's say you swapped him for Jordan Poole. Yeah, I think he could. If you put him on the Utah Jazz last season, could he average 40? Yes, I think he could. And I think Kobe Bryant would make those teams more competitive to where they're like fringe playoff teams in the play-in hunt, similar to what that 05-06 team was. So when you ask the question, could Kobe Bryant average 40 in today's NBA? I think he absolutely could. That doesn't mean that he could or would every year. I think it's irresponsible to say like just outright he would average 40 on a good team, because they wouldn't need him to average 40. Why would he average 40? But on a bad team or on a team that needs him to score, needs him to produce, he could average 40. It would be one of two things with the way defenses are played today. He would either average 40 or he would average like 8 or 9 assists, right? Because the assists would just be so easy. And the reason I say that is because defenses are fairly predictable in today's NBA, right? The way offenses are run, they make you have to pick your poison in a lot of situations, right? So they're either going to make your best player beat you, right, by having a great game, or they're going to make the other guys beat you. And that's when those passes and those reads become ultra easy, especially for teams like what Kobe would be on, where it's a one-man show and he has to do the predominant amount of work in terms of creating offense. So it would be one of two things. He would either average 40 because teams were allowing him to score 40 and they wanted Kobe to beat you night in and night out, which he absolutely could produce at that rate. He showed it. Or it would be him averaging a lot more assists than you might think Kobe could average, because you're just making his read so easy by overloading the defense to him, right? And I think he would have had, throughout his career, if he started, let's say, in like 2018 and had been playing through now, right, his assist numbers would be a lot higher, because for everything I just said, the court is more spread. Defenses are much more pick your poison, where it's like, you're either going to beat us or your teammates are going to beat us, and offenses are good at exposing those things and making you choose between the two. So with that being said, to answer the question, getting long-winded, Kobe could and would have some historic seasons if his career was dropped in today's NBA. And I think, if all things were created equal and he was able to simulate the season that he had in 05-06 in terms of the teammates that he had, the roster configuration, the talent level, that he very well could average 40 in today's NBA. And he's not the only one. Peace.